Hi, this is Jim from Vaudevisuals. I'm here with Keith Shubert from Toybox Theatre based in Asheville, North Carolina. And Keith's going to tell us about his company, about his shows, and about his recent performance on the Puppet Slam with Coney Island, USA. Take it away, Keith.
Hey Jim, thanks for having me on your show. It's really great to finally talk to you in some way. I know we've been talking about doing this for a little while. So my name is Keith Shubert, and I do something called Toybox Theatre. I've been doing it for about 20 years, give or take, maybe a little more. And I do a variety of things. Um, I am a puppeteer, clown, toy maker, and variety entertainer. Um, and so, yeah, I do a lot of different stuff. I work with a lot of different variety performers and entertainers, vaudeville shows, circus side shows. Um, One of the most popular things that I do is MC variety shows. So at like circus variety shows, I interject, I guess, stand-up comedies and storytelling and character acting. I play two different characters. Both are named Toybox, but one is a clown and one is a witch. And these two characters are sort of like represent like the duality of my own personal um, self and psyche. So one is a bit darker and a little sarcastic yet charming and warm, and the other one is just completely zany and wacky and fun. And so with these two characters, I can do all sorts of different types of shows for kids and for adults. But I would say I do majority of my work all year round for mature audiences. I do a lot of children's work. I do kids' birthday parties and, big performing arts festivals and fringe festivals and stuff like that. But I also work in a lot of vaudeville and burlesque. I would say, I mean, pre-COVID, right? Right now, I'm not really working so much at all. So we're working on transitioning into this sort of new realm of becoming a video producer versus being a live entertainer, which is what I was for the last 20 years. And it's interesting. I think a lot of people, for the last couple of months, like as soon as the quarantine happened and this sort of sanctuary in place kind of stuff happened, all these people, all my fans and friends started writing me and messaging me immediately, and they were like, you need to make a video, you need to make a video, you need to make a video. And I had to tell all these people, it, it's a whole different job, it's a whole different skill set to become a video producer versus a live entertainer. Yes, you guys loved me as a live entertainer, but I have to learn all of this technology and cameras, and we had to learn all this new software, and we got a green screen and all of these sort of things, and it's taken time to develop and perfect it and get it ready to go. But it's been about 4 months now that we've been on lockdown, right? And I think that we're finally getting there. So we're gonna try and um, be producing something new every week. And you can find that on Toybox Theater Facebook page. We'll be posting on our Facebook page, and previous videos from the last couple weeks that I've done. I've done a few puppet slams and a kids show. I did a really fun kids show for Leroy's Place, which is uh, um, a puppet and art gallery that's based in Brooklyn, New York. So we did a really great kids show with them, and that was the first episode of that, and we're hoping to do more of those. And I did a Puppet Slam Witch for Baltimore Black Cherry Puppet Theater, which are super good friends of mine. I highly recommend Black Cherry once the world opens up again in Baltimore. I love those people. I love the space. Always, I mean, whenever I would do live shows there, sold out, huge support in the community. They have a great art community and puppeteer community. I just love Baltimore. It's one of my favorite cities. So I did the Puppet Sandwich for Baltimore. You can find that one on YouTube. And I did Puppet Pandemic, which is based in Boston for Honey Good Enough. So I did that slam, and that one's still up. They're all there. You can find them. They're all out there on the internet. So hopefully, you know, all these videos that we're doing now will be archived in some way, and people can see that. So it's interesting. You know, it's weird. It's like I've been touring and traveling and doing shows. I do a lot of work in New Orleans, and I have a pretty decent fan base, but I feel like we're on this sort of precipice right now for my fan base to even grow larger because, you know, geography is no longer a limitation. So, like you said, we did the show in Coney Island. I finally, for decades I've wanted to perform on Coney Island. Who doesn't want to do a show at Coney Island, USA, right? If you're, you know, involved in circus and vaudeville, you want to go to Coney Island. It's great, you know, and it's such a great community and such a vast, rich history of circus and vaudeville there. So, you know, I was finally able to do that thanks to COVID-19 and everything going virtual. So it's weird. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily good, right? It does take some adjustment to go from being a live entertainer, which, you know, I do best, and working the audience of a crowd and feeling that energy and using those pauses and breaks and the laughter and knowing all that timing, and then creating this sort of new style that is specifically for video. So timing is a lot different, and I think that a lot of people maybe don't necessarily understand that, you know, and they didn't get that at first. They were just like, oh, you got to make a video, you got to make a video, and you know, I had to tell people that I will, but it's going to take a little bit of time of experimentation and learning and growth and change, you know, to go from being a live entertainer to being essentially a video producer, right?
It's not easy.
But
It's not easy to transfer over the professional production values of live performance to video, which is a whole new vocabulary for all these performers.
it's true. And, you know, I mean, we've, you know, part of this whole experience and part of the whole thing is for us also was just trying to check out what other people were doing before we jumped into it, you know. So we watched a lot of the other puppet slams that were happening. John Bell was doing these toy theater festivals from Great Small Works, which is a company based in New York, and has a lot of members of the Bread and Puppet puppet troupe. And also, you know, we watch almost every week. We watch the Bindlestiff Family Circus on Mondays, and which has been great. And we've learned so much just from watching that show. And you know, I mean, if you're tuning into the Bindlestiff show, it's a lot like the work that I used to do, and the type of shows that I used to be on. And so I think they've transitioned really well. And, you know, it's interesting because they've probably done the same thing where they've been able to have a lot of guest performers on their variety show that they wouldn't have before COVID. So that's exciting and it's new. But you know, there are technical limitations, and sometimes the sound isn't working, or sometimes there's lag in video and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that can be daunting and stressful, and because, you know, I think all of us right now, we want to continue what we're doing, and you know, keep living our lives and perpetuating our normal lifestyle, but we're doing it in a different way, and have to adjust and learn how to do that. And you know, so yeah, it's been challenging, but it's interesting, and I think that so far, um, feedback's been really well. People have liked what we're doing, and so that's good. And you know, I feel like we are reaching some new audience, and I think that that is going to build and grow. And I'm, you know, by the end of this, it might be awesome, and I might have even more fans, and then have more opportunities. You know, because honestly, when I do tour, I tend to go to the same theater spaces or venue spaces. And so, you know, having this new exposure will probably open up new markets. But, you know, at the same time, sadly, I'm seeing a lot of like my favorite places and venues are having to shut their doors because, you know, they're closed. And you know, they can't survive paying rent for the last few months without bringing patrons in. So, you know, that's something too. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen when we come out of the other side of this. I mean, I pretty much have been very careful. I wouldn't say paranoid, but maybe a little paranoid about the whole thing. So, you know, I only go out for the essentials, for, you know, food and essentials. Occasionally, if I need materials for a build, but even there, you know, we've been like dialing it in and just picking it up at the store, like curbside pickup type stuff. So, you know, I haven't even really been out in the world. I've been at home for the past 4 months, and only going out for, I think I went out, you know, maybe 6 times in the last 4 months anywhere. So,
Oh,
yeah.
well, before the COVID hit, you were doing a regular show there in Asheville. Can you tell us a little bit about that show?
Sure. Well, here in Asheville, actually, I have a couple different regular shows. So I host my own puppet slam. It's called the Wham Bam Puppet Slam. And if there's viewers out there that don't know what puppet slam is, a puppet slam is an evening of short puppet shows in all different styles of puppetry, and any style that you can imagine, and probably some that you never imagined, right? And it's in the evening, and it's specifically for grown-ups. So this is an adult puppetry show. Now, when, you know, I tell people adult puppetry show, they think it's one thing, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be that thing. So people hear adult puppetry, they think it's going to be raunchy. And I say, well, you know, it could also be sad. It could be thought-provoking. It could be political. It could be personal. It could be material that is just not suitable for children. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be raunchy. However, it could be raunchy too, you know. I mean, let's face it, that could happen too. So I have been doing the Wham Bam Puppet Slam here in Asheville since 2010. That's when I moved here. And then shortly after that, I joined an existing troupe, which is Asheville Vaudeville. And that is a monthly, well, was a monthly circus variety show that includes, you know, anything that you would see in a classic vaudeville style review, with burlesque and comedy, clowning, circus arts, aerials, fire, spinners, magicians, comedians, dancers, puppeteers, all of that. And so I am one of the long-standing, for about almost the last 10 years, long-standing MCs and performers in Asheville Vaudeville. So those are the two shows that I was doing, Asheville Vaudeville and Wham Bam Puppet Slam, here locally. And, you know, with both of those shows, we are all in communication still. And it's the same sort of thing that we're thinking about, okay, how do we get ready to launch those shows in this new way, in this new world? And we'll do it. You know, we are talking about it and we're developing it. But, you know, I think the thing is like, we just, for me and for a lot of the people that I work with, we just didn't want to like jump into it just to do something, right? We want it to be good. We want it to be quality. We want it to be something that people will tune into and come back to, you know. So something you see one time and you're like, oh, that show was great. I definitely can't miss the next episode. So yeah. So those are the couple variety shows that I do locally here, and also I produce plays. I do like 45-minute puppet plays. So this would be a show that where I'm necessarily not so much of a character, and it's more like what you would think of as a traditional puppet show. So I do that kind of stuff too, and have been doing that for 20 years, as well as, you know, sort of clowning and comedy and vaudeville.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to your new TV, new internet domain shows coming up. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for
Thank you.
having me on. And you can follow it at Toybox Theatre on Facebook. It's theater with an ER or RE at the end, not ER. So
Right.
because there's another Toybox Theatre. So we had to have the classic theater spelling with the RE at the end, all caps, TOYBOX THEATRE, all caps. You can find me there on Facebook.
Thank you. Have a good one. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Bye-bye.